Hello and welcome to the next edition of my 9.7 test server preview. And I said today that we'll be looking at the tier 9 and 10 French medium tanks and the two new premium tanks that are being introduced into the game. So first of all, we're going to take a look at the French tier 9 medium, the AMX30 Premier Prototype. Why I said prototype with a French accent. Shockingly bad anyway. But anyway. These two tanks, the MX30 series, they're based on, they're sort of like French designs of the German Leopard series, the Leopard Prototype and the Leopard 1. So they've got almost no armour, 80 at the front, 30 at the side and rear. Turret armour, very poor as well, 80 at the front, although it's sloped reasonably well, but I still don't think you'll get many bounces, not with tier 9 and 10 guns shooting at you. 40 at the sides and 30 at the rear with a great big commander's hat sticking at the top as well. So these things are designed to be fast, and I've played both of them, and it's sort of, the acceleration isn't brilliant, but the top speed is pretty good, and the traverse is, it's not what I was. These things are slightly slower than what I was expecting. That's probably down to the hidden soft stats of the suspension and on the terrain resistance and so on. But on paper, they're not too bad. Almost 22 horsepower per ton for the MX30 Premier, and a DPM of, well, this, which is, well, I've only got a gun on 100% crew, so, rate of fire, I don't know with this setup really, but an average DPM around about 2,300, 2,400 DPM. Similar 105mm to, well, almost any other 105mm in the game. Long 105, that is not the dirt 105 that you get on this thing, for example. Apologise for my sniffing, I do have a bit of cold at the moment. But yeah, 100mm gun, both the same on the both of the MX30s, but soft stats vary. Stock rate of fire is 6.06, so around about 9-10 second reload. 260 pen, that's a little bit low for a medium tank. It's lower than your standard 105mm, like the 105mm on the M48 Patterson and the Centurion Mark 7, for example. 260 pen compared to the Centurion's 268, same average damage. Accuracy not too bad, 0.33, and an aim time of 2.3, which isn't bad either. But the dispersion when you're on the move is quite poor actually. So yeah, on paper it seems okay, but in reality it's not that great at all. 320 heat penetration, which is actually pretty good. 53 HE pen with 480 average damage. Now this is the thing, the Centurion with high explosive also has 480 damage, but the E50M with its 105mm has an average HE damage of about 520 because reasons. So the AMX30 Premier is not a bad little tank. It's not little, it's taller than a prototype and probably slower than a prototype as well. So let's move on to the tier 10, the AMX30B. Yeah, it looks pretty much like a taller blue leopard, pretty much. Same gun as the AMX30 Premier. Same penetration, slightly higher rate of fire, so you get probably around about 9 second reload, which is actually quite slow for a tier 10 medium compared to like the E50Ms. That's got 8.2 second reload, I think. I can get my FD4 202 down to about 7.1 seconds on the my M48 pattern. I can get that down to about 7.4. So yeah, 9 seconds is quite slow for a tier 10 with 105mm, to be honest. 0.3 accuracy, that's very good indeed. 2.1 second aim time, that's round about average. I think that's pretty much the same as the FD4 202 in the pan, but I'm not sure. I know that the STB on that has the slowest aim time of 2.3 seconds, but it's got one of the highest DPMs in the game. So yeah, slightly higher DPM, 2,600 instead of 2,400. And pretty much the same engine, much better traverse, 12 degrees per second more compared to 36 compared to 48. Same engine, I think, No, different engine, same horsepower, but much less transfer on impact. Health 1900, which is not bad for a tier 10 medium. I think quite a lot of the tier 10 mediums like the FE422 and the pattern have around about 1900 hit points. Most of course going to the E50M because that's just like an E75 lightweight version, to be honest. View range 410, so coated optics is not bad, especially on a tank with as little armour as this. 80 at the front, 35 at the sides, 30 at the rear. Same turret armour as on the AMX30 Premier, 80 at the front, 40 at the sides, 30 at the rear. So yeah, not really much to say about this other than it's got slightly worse power to weight ratio, just under 20 compared to the AMX30 Premiers of 22, which is odd because I think it doesn't weigh much more, only about 4 tons or so. So that is quite interesting. So this is slightly slower at acceleration, but you don't feel that difference due to the 48-degree traverse speed. So let's now move on to the premium tanks, and the first one we're going to be looking at is the Soviet T-54 prototype, or the T-54 first prototype if you want to be specific. And this is basically a worse T-44. Not that you can really get much worse, but it is. It's got better armour than the T-44, I think. I sold it, which is one of my T-44 crews in this thing. I think the T-44 is only 100 mils frontal armour, and this has 120 slope back at 45 degrees, or thereabouts. 90 at the sides, which is right, 45 at the rear. Turret armour, 180 at the front, 120 at the sides, 75 at the rear, so that's not bad, but I think it does have a similar problem to the T-44, where there is very little spacing around the gun level. And these bits here are flat, so if you shoot sort of like the cheeks of the turret, if you like, excuse me, then you will probably get a few penetrations through there, especially, excuse me again, sorry, this cold is quite annoying. So yeah, if you're shooting at this thing from the front in like tier 8 or 9, then turret, it doesn't really have much armour compared to those sort of guns. Manoeuvrability, not brilliant, for almost 36 ton tank, 520 horsepower. And if we go back to the AMX30, the first one, for example, less weight but much higher horsepower engine. This only has a tier 6 engine, would you believe? So this thing has a horsepower per ton of 14.55, which is only just better than Panther 2, I think. Panther 2 is only 12 horsepower per ton. But yeah, this thing isn't that manoeuvrable. And you can probably tell by my selection of ammo down here, is that this does not have a great gun at all. It's similar to the gun you get on the T-44, except it's a slightly different model, if you like. Rate of fire 7.41, so around about 7 seconds reload. 0.38 accuracy, that is poor, that is not very good, but hey, it is Russian. Aim time 2.6, not good at all either. Penetration with standard armor piercing 175, one of the worst you'll find at tier 8. APCR pen 235, again not brilliant. And I don't think this thing gets premium matchmaking because Wargaming are trying to cut down on the amount of tanks for preferential matchmaking. So yeah, 235 pen isn't going to really get you that far in tier 9 and 10 games, especially against some heavies, and this thing don't really have the manoeuvrability to flank round, as you just saw. 50 pen with HE, which is alright, and 330 average damage, so if you're shooting at artillery or light, then you can really wreck them a bit. But it's the accuracy and the manoeuvrability that really lets this thing down, as well as a poor penetration. I wouldn't really recommend buying one of these. So now moving on to the M56 Scorpion. This is interesting to say the least. 820 hit points, which is alright, I suppose, for a tier 7 TD. It's probably below par, but then when we get into the later stats, I think you'll see why if you can see them already. 7.5 ton tank, very light, 200 horsepower engine, which gives this figure power to weight ratio of something, and I probably can't be able to work out. There'll be pop-up on screen showing you what it is if really bother to work out. Average DPM of 1846. It's got one of those 100 mils, 90 mil rather, 219 pen, which at tier 7 is absolutely fantastic. I think that's got the most pen for any tier 7 tank in the game. 240 average damage, typical 19mm gun. 7.69 rounds per minute, so around about 6.5, 7 second reload. 275 pen with APCR, that is very good. Tier 7 tank could probably put some tier 10 tanks to shame if they've been shooting at them. 45 HE pen, not brilliant. 320 average damage, which is pretty good. 0.33 accuracy, which is again pretty good. 2 second aim time, that's good as well. But now we get to sort of downsides. Top speed 45, that's pretty good as well. And 40 degree traverse speed, that is good. However, all of that good stuff does come at a cost. This has 1mm of armour all round, as you could probably see, due to gun shield, and well, that's just an engine in there, and that is just full of ammo racks. So yeah, nowhere to protect the crew. If you're firing at one of these, just load high explosive, you are pretty much guaranteed to pen anywhere with 1mm of armour all round, unless you get lucky to get the space to on the tracks, which will be very unlucky on this whole thing. Has 1mm of armour all round. That is very poor indeed. Only 350 view range for an open top vehicle. Again, that is quite poor. Signal range 500. Nobody really cares about the radio. So pretty much the way you want to play this is play it like the German TDs, the turreted TDs. Just camp at the back and snipe, because this does have an accurate gun. Have you seen? It doesn't traverse very well. Only 12 degrees per second, but well, it doesn't really matter when you camp it. You don't have to move the gun much to get the target in your aiming reticle. So that's it for now. I'll hopefully be bringing you gameplay, which was my original plan until another version of the test server came out. Literally 2 days after I recorded the first video, there was a little update, which means that my AMX30 Premio replay couldn't be, let's say it doesn't work properly, that replay with this version of the test server, so that was disappointing, but hopefully I'll be bringing gameplay of most of the new tanks. Obviously with the low tiers that's probably not possible as much due to everyone just want to play high tiers on the test server, because that's what most people use it for, to be honest. So I hope you enjoyed this little feature on the new higher tier tanks in the game, excuse me. So yeah, that's it for now. Hopefully more World Tanks footage coming soon, along with Warfare, and hopefully some new Steam games such as Don't Starve. I might be starting a single player Don't Starve series very soon, which that'll be quite fun. I've got a expansion pack, Reign of Giants, which will be quite interesting, and hopefully you'll find it interesting too. So that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you on the next one.